I'm live. What's up, everybody? Thanks for stopping by. Uh, Obviously, I'm going to have to wait a little bit for things to populate to get some people here in the room to talk. But I am going to be doing, hopefully, you guys enjoy this. Today, I believe it was today, launched the new season of The Toys That Made Us, which is a Netflix series. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hello to everybody in the room. Welcome to the chat. We're going to be having some fun. Going to be here for a little bit, enjoying some iced tea from Iron Man. I did a live stream. Oh, geez, when was it? A couple days ago, and went really well. You guys seem to enjoy it, and I thought that I know T, right, Darth. Um, so I thought that I would try this again. I'm in my office this time, so not crazy setup stuff. Angel, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It is me. It is me, Trans Theories. It is me. We're going to be hanging out, having a good time here in a little bit. I'm going to wait, like I said, for a little bit to get the room filled a little bit to have a good long conversation about this. I'm going to be doing my best to keep track of the chat. I felt bad because last time there were issues where I was not doing things very well. I also realized that there is a donation thing on here and that you can become a super chat or something like that. And in that, it highlights your comment, and I missed some of those, and I apologize to those that guys that did that. I didn't know what it was, so hopefully I don't mess that up again. Thank you for watching for a year. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So again, happy Friday to everybody. As I mentioned initially, the new season of the Netflix series, The Toys That Made Us, has dropped. Interestingly enough, I remember watching it, and I thought it was already going to be like an 8 episode season, but they split it up. I guess like Netflix only got 4 of the episodes initially, and then they wanted to see how it went. And then from that point on, it was successful, and they got the other ones. In the first one, we saw things like GI Joe. We saw things like Barbie. We saw how some of these big toy companies basically came around and got to us. A lot of us Transformer fans were waiting for a Transformer episode, and we finally got it in this season or this half, I guess. I don't know how they're actually, like I said, I don't know how they're doing that. It's weird. But in it, or in waiting for it, it got a lot of hype for it. So really, really excited. What's up, Jimmy? How are you? What's up? Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. I am your idol. Oh, that's crazy. I don't. I don't necessarily think I'm anybody's idol. So we're uh, we're going Barbie versus Transformers. Dawn of Collectors. Interesting. What's up, Travis? Arvin Prime. Hello to you. Hi to everybody that's stopping by. Thank you, everybody. I know there were some issues with some language last time, which I wasn't paying attention to, unfortunately. I did not have any moderators or anything of that nature. So I'm going to be trying to keep track of things as much as possible this time. Um, let's see. We go back and do reviews on older figures like Revenge of the Fallen, Shanghai Demolisher. No, do not plan on doing that. Unique Toys, Optimus Prime. Nope. Just another G.I. Joe show. What's up, Mike? the man who puts on an amazing show, Little Rock Comic Con. Great show. I've heard nothing but great things from this past show. I was at last show. It was amazing. Good stuff. So here we go. Okay, so we got some people in here. My eyes are really dry. Maybe I should put my glasses in. So I'll be happy to answer your questions, guys. We're going to be talking about Transformers, though, primarily, and the toys and things of that nature. So I'm not going to be talking about Deadpool 2 or anything like that. But we're at 84 people in here, so I figure we can get it going now. So the Transformers franchise started in the 80s. I was born 1978, so I grew up with the the Transformers universe, and it was really interesting. This episode, if you haven't seen it, go on watch it. It's really quite interesting, and what we were kind of looking at through in terms of history back then, we had no idea what we were really getting into. Transformers came about. It was a very interesting process. Initially, it started out in Japan, as many of you know. Takara started out, but Takara did not have any boys' toys. They started doing girl toys, and they wanted to expand into the boy toy market. So, starting a long, decades long collaboration with Hasbro, they had GI Joe come over into Japan, but it didn't really work very well over in Japan. It just, for whatever reason, the Japanese audience didn't really take to it too much. So they took the figures, they basically turned them into robots for the most part, and became the Micromen. Or was it Micromen? I forgot. In terms of history, I'm not very good with it, but they started doing these, and then it went over to the U.S. and became Micronauts or something like that. But so I mean, it kind of bounced back and forth. Micromasters, maybe that's what it was. But then they became more. Oh, look at that! See, there's True Prime Reviews. Thank you very much. You love my videos. I love it when you support my stuff by contributing like you did. That's amazing. I can't thank you enough. Seriously, it really does mean a lot to me. So shout out to you. Micronauts was what came back over here to the United States, and there's a lot of stuff that kind of went back and forth during that time. And one thing that a lot of people started developing a like for were these robots. Japan is a very big robot market, and eventually they became a little bit boring. Diaclone were in there as well. Diaclone were other little robots that it was Microman and Diaclone were the lines, and when it when that started kind of getting boring, that's when they introduced car robots, which are a lot of what we know today for a lot of Transformers. They became what we were big fans of, and what eventually became Transformers. Hasbro, and I'm really kind of shortening and paraphrasing a lot of stuff. The Hasbro people went over to Japan. They decided that they wanted to bring their robot stuff back over to our market. Transformers were basically born, and through the process, a lot of people became a lot bigger fans. They started out with the toys, and this was something that I was I thought was kind of funny in the episode. Around the same time, was it Bandai? Bandai was working with the folks from Tonka, and they had created GoBots. Now, a lot of people don't like talking about GoBots. It's an interesting kind of thing, but GoBots actually hit the market before Transformers did. Transformers were here; they were developing them, and they decided to start making comic books. So Marvel Comics started, but GoBots hit the market about 6 months before Transformers did. And a lot of people, Plush King, I see a lot of people. So they had Ryan from Sabertron actually on this episode. And I kind of feel like he did a little bit of a disservice. I'm going to call him out on it because he basically said that GoBots were seen as being very kiddie, that they were just flip, 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 and you were done, and weren't taken seriously. And the way that it was done on the episode made it look like he was saying that obviously GoBots weren't taken very seriously. The fact of the matter is, GoBots and Transformers were neck and neck for the longest time. GoBots had a head start through the marketing and the comic book series, which GoBots didn't have. The Transformers brand grew stronger and stronger, and for the longest time, Transformers and GoBots were going neck and neck. Now Ryan did say that it was a little bit more kiddie, and that's true because the producers of GoBots was Hanna-Barbera. Hanna-Barbera is known for things like Scooby-Doo, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, cartoons like that. So they were a little bit more kiddie based. I mean, they were a cartoon, but there was a little bit more humor injected into the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. So when the Transformers cartoon came out, it was different. I gotta plug my thing in. I don't want it to die. Low power mode. Here we go. So the Transformers got a little bit more of a serious. I see you, Wonder Woman. Greetings from America. I see that you're in the Philippines. All 400 times that you said that. So the G1 cartoon came out, and a lot of kids really were. What is going on? Burger, is that you? Burger's trying to get in a box. So the cartoons were vastly different. The Transformers were a little bit more serious, and Hanna-Barbera kind of stuck to their general way of doing cartoons, that there was a little bit of humor injected in it. And ultimately, I think that is what, not anything else. Not because at the end of the day, GoBots were cheaper. Now, parents are buying these toys. GoBots were cheaper, and I don't mean cheap as in like cheaply made, because a lot of them were made, and they said that, like the PR girl or whatever for Hasbro said that they were made out of plastic and they were flimsy. They really weren't. There was a lot of die cast in those old GoBot figures, just like in the Transformer ones. So everybody has this whole thing, GoBots are worse than Transformers, and they were really kind of the same for the longest time. And a lot of parents would buy GoBots because they were cheaper. Now, when the cartoons came out, that's when things started to really separate between GoBots and Transformers. And the Transformers exploded in terms of popularity. GoBots quickly died off. I think that was just part and parcel to Hanna-Barbera's desire not to change things. As they evolved and became more, Transformers became a lot more popular. They also benefited from the fact that as they started becoming more popular, they wanted to make a movie out of it. A lot of people don't know this. I believe it was after season 1 I want to say, is when they decided to make the Transformers animated movie, which is why you only see Devastator as the only combiner in the episode. Nothing else had come out yet, so they were basing things. Yes, I'm going over the episode, Jordan. So the Transformer, they decided to make a movie, so they could only really work on what characters they had already had by that point in time. So the Transformers movie started in development. Then season two, so that, so all that stuff kind of happened, and then the Transformer movie came out. And it was at that time that a lot of us talk about one of the most traumatic things in our childhood, Optimus Prime, as well as every other Transformer, was killed. Uh, in fairness, it was a business decision. They decided they wanted, I mean, it was just a way to sell toys at that point in time. And they decided to kill pretty much everybody. Yes, not Jazz and not or Bumblebee. Uh, they decided to kill pretty much everybody off and introduce new characters, which would end up being new toys. So that I don't think they necessarily thought about the ramifications of what kids were going to think about these characters that they had grown really used to. Um, it was, I don't, well, honestly, I don't remember too much about it, to be totally honest with you. I remember my grandparents used to own a video store. Now, for you young kids, a video store is a place where you would go and buy a video cassette, or you would rent a video cassette. And that video cassette had the movie on there. My mom brought it to home one day. She's like, I got a surprise for him. I'm like, oh sweet, okay, cool. And it turned out it was a Transformer movie, and I was like, wow, I had no idea. Back then, we did not have trailers for things as much as we do now. I mean, nowadays we have teasers, we have teasers of trailers, we have trailers of teasers. I mean, there's so much marketing that's involved in stuff. They didn't have that stuff back then. When you found out about a movie, it was pretty much the trailers on the beginning of a movie that you were watching earlier. So it's like, what? And that's when you found out about it. So I had no idea that there was going to be a Transformer movie. I watch it, and I remember being sad by it, but it didn't really. I think a lot of people, be totally honest, really do overhype the death of Optimus Prime. I remember I was a kid. I remember watching and then getting over it because I was a kid. I was when that came out. When did that come out? 86. So I was 8 years old. I watched it. I was like, oh, I was sad that he did, but I don't think I really understood what I had just seen. At that age, I don't think a lot of people understand what the hell they're seeing. So I think a lot of people, when they talk about how dramatic it was, I think they're just being dramatic now. I mean, honestly. But he dies. Eventually, Hasbro realized what they did wrong. They brought him back. So Optimus has died countless times so far. After that, what was interesting to see was Transformers uh, kind of changing. A lot of people after the movie, after the series stopped running, Hasbro decided that they wanted to do pretty much like their own designs and such. So they started doing things like Power Masters. They started doing things like what were those? I'm having a brain fart. The little ones that don't transform. They started designing their own stuff for the most part. Takara was gone, and they were away from it. Apparently, people stopped spoiling Infinity War. The movie's been out for a month now. Stop spoiling it, I guess. I don't really care, to be totally honest. Action Masters, thank you. The movie's been out for a month. If you haven't seen it by now, just get off the internet. I mean, I'm not going to sit here. I mean, it's over, guys. The movie's been out for a while. I mean, seriously. We know Peter Parker dies. There, I spoiled it. I mean, sorry. The movie's been out for a while. So, if you haven't seen it by now, you're not going to see it until like the movie comes out on Blu-ray for the most part. And by that point in time, it's way too late. So just get over it. Anyhow, Batman dies. I'm Batman. So the Action Masters, Power Masters, these were all Transformers that people really didn't get into terribly much. So Transformers at that point in time kind of started going downhill in terms of popularity. So it needed to get reinvigorated. It was just not doing very well. Fast forward a few years, we come to the Beast Wars era. And Beast Wars really did invigorate the Transformer franchise again. And it was one of those things where they combined really interesting animation. It was CGI animation. It was done by the same company that did Reboot. Reboot was the first CGI cartoon on television, and the same company did Beast Wars. You had good voice acting in it as well, and the story was cohesive. Unlike G1, which they were all, for the most part, very episodic. Like it was contained in that 25-minute long episode. Beast Wars, there was a grander arc to it. And by that point in time, I think the kids that grew up with Transformers that were a little bit older, they were able to understand those connections. Mainframe, thank you. Thank you very much. Who said that? Gen 1 Red Alert, thanks for that. I appreciate that. I do. Yeah, I got the big T-Rex over there. So the animation was good. The story was compelling. People that grew up with Transformers were a little bit older, so they could understand it a little bit more. And then after Beast Wars, everything went to hell. Excuse the language. Excuse the language. But the franchise started dying quickly again. Beast Machines came around. I never really liked Beast Machines. It was way too preachy. For the longest time, I had a hard time watching it. But I eventually did watch all of it, and it just was not that exciting, to be totally honest. Once the Beast saga kind of ended, Transformers started dying down again. So we got things like the Unicron trilogy, Energon, Cybertron, all this. I mean, it wasn't really good. Energon, Cybertron, Armada, they were decent, but again, not that same type of thing. Now, after that, Transformers really was kind of falling apart at that point. There wasn't a lot happening with Transformers until Michael Bay showed up. Michael Bay, Steven Spielberg, they all decided to get together and do a Transformers movie. Now, one thing that I will say about the Transformer franchise, I would challenge anybody. I would challenge anyone to tell me a franchise as successful as the Transformer franchise. Transformers have existed since the mid 80s to now, 2017, the most recent movie. It has lasted this many years Marvel Comics, yeah, you could probably say Marvel Comics, but it's spurred on five five massive movies. I mean, the only thing that you really could probably compare it to would be like a comic book thing. I know some people would be like, well, look at He Man. Look how successful He Man is. You know, Harry Potter, maybe. That's probably a good one. Star Wars. Star Wars is definitely up there. I would definitely say that's, I mean, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, but none of these were toy companies. This is a toy company. I mean, this is a toy franchise that has existed. Lego would probably be the one that I would think would be the closest to comparing to Transformers in terms of the the longevity of it, which is amazing to me. But that being said, no, Transformers. No, we already talked about that GameCube. They didn't rip off GoBots. They came out at the same time. So it's it's definitely an interesting thing. Ninja Turtles, yeah, but Ninja Turtles doesn't have the same success um, as the Transformers franchise in terms of movies. I mean, they've done several movies, but I mean, they've done two movies. One people like, one people really don't like. They kept making, the movie, the Transformer movies, regardless if you like Michael Bay, created movies that really did get really popular amongst people. So I mean, it's interesting. Well, I didn't skip Transformers Animated. Transformers Animated came in 2007, right at the beginning of the live action movies. So they came out roughly about the same time when the excitement for Transformers was really starting to get going again. Um, so I think that the animated series was very popular because of the movies, and a lot of people that watched animated were the people that were fans of Transformers for many years. Not necessarily new fans. The movies brought more new fans, I think, than Transformers animated did. But the overall episode talked about a lot of the history of Transformers, not so much necessarily the toys. They talked about it a little bit. How originally, like Megatron was a good guy. That a lot of these, the other funny story that I thought was funny was Megatron. Was somebody tried to go through an airport with it, and they actually had to transform it to show that it wasn't actually a real gun, which I thought was kind of hilarious, to be honest. But the franchise has endured. It will endure. It is one of the most successful franchises. We named a lot of really successful franchises here: Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars. A lot of these are very successful franchises, and the Transformers franchise is one that I think will continue to go. We're getting a new movie here in December, so again, in talking longevity, the live action movies have spurred six different movies. Um, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's not based on toys. That's what I was kind of talking about. What franchise that's been based on toys has been around that has lasted this long. So the new movies coming out, Bumblebee. Um, it's we'll see how it goes. I don't like the idea of rebooting the movies. I think what they did was perfectly fine in terms of like a soft reboot with some slightly new characters, and such. That I thought was okay with like Age of Extinction and The Last Night. I thought that was a perfectly fine way. Uh, but what I see as, yes, I am going to get the Studio Series. I am not going to get them from the UK because they're on eBay and they're very expensive. I am a Transformer reviewer, Jimmy, so I'm going to buy new Transformer toys. Just be patient. I'm not spending $60 to get Jazz. No. If you can go to a store and if you can buy it and you want to send it to me, great. I would love that. But I have to pay for my toys too. And as much as I buy, it becomes difficult to spend that much stuff on things. Unless you guys are going to be hitting that little donation thing more, sending me more money, it's not going to happen as quickly. I have them ordered, but I'm getting them, and apparently the person said that they're not going to have them until July 1st. So I have to wait for that to happen. Eventually, it will happen. They will be sent to me. Then I'll review them. Michael Bay is not doing the Transformer movies anymore, at least not Bumblebee. But in terms of the Transformer movies, I think that what we could see is what I would like to see is that they they take a break. That's what I would like to see eventually. I would like to see them take a break, get people to kind of forget about them again, and then bring it back. I would be perfectly fine with like a 10 year, another 10 years before we got another Transformer movie. Now in that span of time, who knows what could change with the franchise? But Bay Dora the Explorer, okay. Um, but that, well, I mean, 10 years is kind of, I mean, we've had 10 years of it now. Well, 11 years of it now. I think we need to take some time away. I don't think 5 years is really going to be that good for reinvigorating things. You have to get new people, new fans into the franchise, and I think 10 years is a pretty good number. It would suck because I would love to keep getting them. I'm one of those kind of people that I actually enjoyed The Last Night and Age of Extinction. They're not the greatest movies in the world, but I turned my brain off and I just watched the spectacle on it. So we'll see. But the episode was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I do wish they would spend. No, my channel could not be canceled because my channel is not part of them. I do a lot of Transformer reviews, but I do a lot of other reviews as well that help things out a lot. So we got that. We got some Ninja Turtles. Got to do reviews on that stuff. A lot of stuff that I could keep doing, so it would be perfectly fine. But it's an interesting thing to watch from the outside kind of in. I learned a lot when I watched things like G.I. Joe, the G.I. Joe episode. I learned a lot when I watched the Barbie episode, the Star Wars episode, even the Star Trek. They had a Star Trek episode, which I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I was amazed by how much I actually learned in that one particular episode. How do I give you my Transformers? You don't have to give me your Transformers. Yeah, Migos. A lot of the Lego episode is coming up. I haven't watched that one yet. And then they're going to have a Hello Kitty episode, which I'm not too interested in the Hello Kitty episode, but I wasn't that interested in the Barbie one either, so I may learn some more. I do wish, in terms of a critique, I do wish that they focused more on the toys and not so much just the history of the franchise, which is what I feel that they did in the Transformer episode. Uh, it was it was still enjoyable, but like I said, less toy information, more history information. So it was a fun episode. If you guys haven't watched it, like I said, it's on Netflix now. Binge watch. It's not really a binge. There's only like 4 episodes in this. So you gotta squeeze. What's it? Squeeze it in a 45-minute episode. Yeah, but I think that in the grand scheme of things, you could have talked about the toys a little bit more than they did. Dante Graham, boom, there it is. Shout out for you. So so let's get some questions. I'm gonna stay on here for about another 5 minutes or so. Let me take a look at some of the questions that you guys have. Thoughts on the Power of the Primes cartoon? That's the Netflix thing. I think that's terrible. I think that the animation is decent. The animation for the mouth is terrible. It looks like I'm watching an old like Bruce Lee movie. Voice acting's not really all that good. It's gotten better, but it's still not that good. I don't think. I'm overall not a fan of it. Um, what are your thoughts on the studio series Megatron? Or I have no idea. Smokescreen. I haven't seen any of them. I don't have them yet. I don't tend to watch other people's reviews on stuff very much, just because typically I'm busy. I'm working myself, or I'm doing something else. So I'd rather not sit here and just watch toy reviews. Um, let's see. Let me go back up. Do you personally know Balt Matrix and MGO? I don't personally know them. I know of them. I don't personally know them, though. What do you think about Lego, Paul? I got into them a little. When I was a kid, though, they were mostly like you used your imagination and created things. Now you follow instructions to create a certain thing. I have a few, like the Ghostbuster Firehouse. That's one of my favorites. How many toys do you have in storage? I don't know how many I have in storage. I can tell you I have a 20-foot by 20-foot storage unit that I keep stuff in, and that's pretty much full. Do you still have the Hulkbuster? I still have the Hulkbuster. That's probably not going to go away anytime soon. What's your favorite Bayformer movie? Probably the first one is my favorite. I like to talk about how conventions brought us together as fans and collectors alike. I think that conventions really, conventions really kind of started way back in the day, like the '60s. I mean, Star Trek had conventions after the original series was canceled, before they started doing movies. And conventions is a fun way to go and hang out with other collectors and fans. And it was even more important uh, 20 years and later, because we've had the internet now for all this time. So we were able to connect as fans and collectors a lot more because of the internet. Before that, conventions was the way to go. There's still something to be said about conventions and hanging out in them, which I really do like. I haven't gone to HasCon. I went to several BotCons, and those were always a blast. Let's see. How would you rate the toys that made us in general? Of the 4, 5, 6 episodes that I've seen, I would give it a solid 8 or 9, I would say. Except they haven't asked me to be on the show, but whatever. Yoki-san was on there, yeah, showing off the VHS Transformers. Yoki-san, for those of you that don't know, is basically the grandfather or godfather of Transformers. He designed the vast majority of them. Okay, buddy. 1986 animated Transformer film versus all the Bay movies combined. Who wins? The 86 movie is pretty good. I do like it. Let's see. Transformer, you're live. Oh, hopefully that didn't kill too much. Okay, it's still going. I'll go for a little bit more because I'm trying to catch up to some of these comments. Transformers Prime, I enjoyed. RID, don't really care that much for. Do I know about Jobby the Hong? I know about him, yes. Do I have Instagram? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Instagram.com/Optibotimus or whatever. I think that's it. Or the real Optibotimus. Do you know how to solve a Rubik's Cube? No, not very easily. Am I going to get the new Hulkbuster? Maybe. Live on a Friday. Oh, what's up, Chuck Dog? Well, you missed it. I'm going to be leaving here in a couple minutes. I'll go for 45 minutes. We're at 41 and a half. How do you clean your Hot Toys? I don't really clean them. They're in glass cases. They don't get dirty. I have pretty much all the Iron Man figures as far as I know. My favorite Autobot, Joshua, is Wheeljack. You guys are just asking the same questions over and over again. Do you actually have fun at Disneyland? I love going to Disneyland. I almost went today, but in my hockey game, I hurt my knee and decided not to go because it would have been a lot of walking around. Do I think Hasbro will make the Autobot Target Masters? Maybe. That would be kind of cool. I actually don't, Randy Torres, I actually don't have any of the Diaclone figures. I would love to get some, but they're not easy to come by. They're usually pretty expensive. No, what's up, Sportimus? How are you, Andrew, sir? I'm not going to be going to PowerCon. I got way too much stuff that I have to do, um, and the only reason I would have went there is if I could have got their like special pass that gets you into like everything. Otherwise, it's just fairly generic. But they only sell like 10 of those or something. So. I have not seen the new Solo movie. I don't plan on seeing it much. Um, well, Andrew, send me a message. Maybe I'll come down. We can just hang out in the bar or something like that. It'd be good to see you. But that's about it, guys. I'm going to wrap things up. I forgot who it was, but to the person that actually did donate $2 to me, thank you very much. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing when you guys value my content enough to help contribute to it. That's one thing that I think is really cool that YouTube does on here. I know Twitch has done it for a long time where you like give tips to your favorite creators and stuff like that. So to you who did that, I thank you very much. Means a lot when you are able to take your hard-earned money and want to contribute to my content and me actually continuing to produce content for you. It really does mean a lot that you enjoy my content that much. So thank you for that. Thank you for everybody else that stopped by and hung out. It really does mean a lot. Just if you can come by and hang out with me, it's always fun. It's always amazing. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you're gonna watch this video later on after the live stream, feel free to leave your comments. I'll get to them as much as I possibly can, and we can continue the discussion. If not, that's fine too. Whatever. So thanks, everybody. Good night. Have a great weekend. Have a safe and fun Memorial weekend. Enjoy the fireworks. Enjoy the food. Enjoy everything. And I'll talk to you guys later. Until next time.